Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Angeline. I am the president and founder of Black In Neuro, and I am so thrilled to have you all here. We're very excited for Black In Neuro Week this year. It is going to be an incredible week. We have so many wonderful events coming up, and we are just so thrilled to be here and to have this time together. Before we get started, and at the start of all of our sessions, we are going to make sure that we do a nice land acknowledgement to acknowledge the lands on which that we're on. So today I'm joining you from the Tongva and Ashimen nations. We pay respects to these indigenous peoples, and we are all joining this event from different places all around the world. So I invite you to take a moment and reflect on the lands from which you're joining from as well, and your relationship to those lands and the indigenous peoples who have and continue to inhabit them. So as I mentioned, I am Angeline Dukes. I am a daughter of immigrants, and I'm a first-generation college graduate. I'm an addiction neuroscientist and a fifth-year PhD candidate at the University of California, Irvine. And during this welcome session, myself and other members of the Black In Neuro executive team will be sharing how Black In Neuro began, some of the things we've accomplished, and our hope for the future. So just going into a little bit of the background of Black In Neuro. So Black In Neuro began last year. It was last summer, and as everyone was aware, it was a major time for a lot of political unrest, and people were becoming more aware of police brutality occurring against Black people. In particular, there was this incident in Central Park with Christian Cooper, who had the police called on him by a white woman, Amy Cooper, and in response to that, a whole movement began with Black Birders Week and Black in Nature, and people becoming more aware. There were also all of these other instances of Black people being killed by the police, and it was just a very traumatizing time as a Black person anywhere, but also in academia and in science, and having to focus on the lab and focus on the science that was very difficult to do when we were more concerned for our physical well-being. And so, as I mentioned, from the incident with Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper, Black Birders Week began. And so this was a movement just to showcase that Black people do belong in nature and that we have space here and it's our right to take up space here. And from that, all of these other movements began. So there was Black Birders Week, there was Black in Astro Week, and Black Botanist Week. And I was just so amazed to see all of these incredible people and just seeing Black people in all of these spaces, just knowing that we belong here and we have a right to be here and to grow here. And I was honestly feeling a little lonely, right? Because in neuroscience, I personally hadn't seen many Black neuroscientists. And so I was just wondering where my community was in the neuroscience field. So as we know, social media is a great way of connecting people. So I sent out a tweet and I was just like, so when are we doing a Black in Neuro Week? I didn't expect it to get any traction. And I actually it took me a long time to send the tweet out. I haven't shared the story before, but I was debating on sending this tweet out for about an hour before I actually sent it, because I was like, oh, nobody cares. Like, why am I even putting this out there? No one will be interested. And it's just absolutely incredible how much it's grown and how much we've all gained from it in the past year. And it blows my mind every time I think about it. And I'm so grateful that I had that little bit of courage just to send it out, because it's more than any of us have ever dreamed of. And so I sent the tweet out on July 3rd. It was a Friday. I definitely remember that. And there were so many people who responded to it, which was absolutely wonderful. They were like, oh my gosh, this would be so amazing. I'd love to see it. And I was like, okay, great, definitely. But I'm not going to do this by myself. I just knew that there was no way I could organize this whole event all by myself. And so I asked for help. I asked for people who wanted to help out with that. And there was a ton of people who were like, yeah, I'd love to. So we started a Slack channel that very same Friday. And by that Sunday, we had our very first meeting. We secured our website and our email address, and we made the official announcement that, hey, we're going to do this. So we told people, get excited, it's coming. And then 3 weeks later, we had our very first Black in Neuro Week. We got some sponsors to be able to pay our speakers, which is just one of the things that we are most proud of, is our ability to compensate speakers, because we feel like it's very important not just to pay speakers for talking about their science, but also anything DEI related. Like, these are their experiences and they deserve to be compensated for their time for speaking on these things. And so we're very proud that we have been able to do that. And we're doing that also this week too. We're going to talk about that a little bit more from our director of finance, but it was just amazing how in 3 weeks it just went from nothing and just a thought that I briefly had to a full-blown event. And so from that, we had Black in Neuro Week, and the goal of Black in Neuro Week is to highlight Black excellence in neuro-related fields. We knew that's something we wanted to do. We know that there are Black neuroscientists around, even if we might be the only one or two at our institutions. And so we really wanted to show that to the world, to show that we are here, we've been here, and we will continue to be here. And so the ways in which we did this was by having theme days each day of the week with different hashtags and instructions on how to participate on our website. And so this week during Black in Neuro Week, you'll see that again. So every day has a different theme day. So today is Black in Neuro Roll Call Day. And so there are instructions on our website and on our social media channels on how you can participate too. And so last week, as I said, was incredible. Over 7 days, we had 8 live events. We did 6 panels. We had a journal club, a social, a podcast, and a dance class. We had over 2,000 registrants and 13,000 Twitter followers, and over 60 sponsors. And one of the things we're most proud of is on our website, there's a database of hundreds of Black and Neuro scholars that you can look at and call on to, if you're looking for invited speakers, if you're looking for graduate students, if you're looking for postdocs, if you're looking for Black faculty to hire, all of these people are absolutely incredible, not just, with the work that they do in terms of outreach and just excellence in those arenas, but also their research is absolutely amazing. And so tomorrow we're also going to be highlighting Black and Neuro research, and we're very excited about that too. And so this incredible week that we had was due to the efforts of these organizers. And so we had 22 organizers last year, and it just, the best team I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Absolutely adore every single one of these people. And to know that, this it happened so organically. It definitely was a grassroots movement. We are mostly trainees, science communicators, postdocs, grad students. None of us are DEI experts. We just knew that there was a void that we wanted to fill. We knew that what we wanted to see, and we made it happen. And I cannot express the type of love and admiration I have for these people because the passion that they gave, and this was all unpaid work. We're all volunteers. We're doing this because we know how important it is. And we know that it's making a difference in our community, in neuroscience as a whole, and just impacting the world. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for these people. And so after Black In Neuro Week, we knew that we couldn't stop. There was so much excitement and so much momentum and so much joy that people have gained from this. And so we're working on our ways to become a formalized entity. So we created an executive board. So as I mentioned, I'm the president, and you'll hear from other members of the executive board today. And we're very pleased to announce that we just established our inaugural advisory board with 5 absolutely incredible people in the neuroscience field who are way more established and have been around longer than we have and know a lot more than we do currently, who will help guide Black In Neuro and make sure that it becomes a permanent force in the neuroscience field. And so this week, of course, is Black In Neuro Week. We have several sessions throughout the entire week. There are over 15 live events, which is absolutely wonderful. I hope that you join and share and amplify and just, really celebrate these Black scholars and the work that they're doing, because so much of it goes unnoticed. And there are, unfortunately, way more things that should be shared by the research being done by these Black scholars. And so I really hope that you take the time to celebrate them and also take the time to reflect upon your own labs and your own institutions, see how you can make changes there. I hope you learn something from these panels. I hope that it changes the way that you approach things. I hope that you learn how to be a better ally to Black scholars. I hope if you are a Black scholar that you find community and you find joy and you find everything that we hope Black In Neuro to be. And so everything from this week is due to the incredible organizers of Black In Neuro Week this year. So this is our team for this year. There are 25 of us. And again, just phenomenal people. Like I can't gush enough about how wonderful these people are. They saw me crying on Sunday because I'm just so proud of all of the work that this team has put. And as I mentioned, like, we're all volunteering, we're giving our time because we know how important this is. And so for you all to show up to our events and to support us in this way means so much more than I can ever express. So thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone in the Black In Neuro community, to our organizers, to our sponsors, to our allies. Thank you all so much, because without you, it wouldn't be possible. And without this team, they deserve all of the applause because they are just the most incredible people ever. And so without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brielle Ferguson, who's our Director of Programming and has been the force behind so many of the wonderful events you've seen in the past year. So I would like to introduce her next. And thank you all so much again for being here.
Thank you so much, Angeline, for that introduction. It's just so wonderful to hear the recap of everything that we've been able to do, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. So as Angeline said, I'm going to introduce some of our programming. And so with all of our programming, we really think about coming back to what our core goals are as an organization. And so those are building community, offering resources for professional development, and increasing visibility for Black scholars of neuro. And we do this in myriad ways. And so for building community, one of the ways we do this is through hosting socials. And what was really nice about the way that the organization formed, unfortunately, in the time of COVID and the pandemic, there was this sense that there were no geographical barriers. We felt like we could really connect with anyone because we all were meeting up over Zoom in all of these virtual spaces. And so it gave us a way to bring together people from really around the world in a way that we wouldn't have been thinking about in the same way just a year or two prior. So we hosted lots of socials over Zoom. I think we had up to 12, and each of them are centered around a theme and are really about bringing in and engaging the community in various ways. So for example, we hosted one around New Year's in conjunction with the SFN Connectome, and it was all about setting intentions and our goals and our aspirations for the year. And we created a group vision board just out of what we wanted the Black In Neuro community to grow into and to become. We also partner with various organizations to be able to break down barriers to access for people that might not otherwise have, access to certain communities. So for example, we hosted one with the International Behavioral Neuroscience Society. What was really nice about our social was that it was open to everyone. So even if you were not able to attend the conference or afford the conference registration, for example, you could be there in that space and meet behavioral neuroscientists if that was something that was interesting to you. Recently, we also hosted a Pride Social just to be able to create a space for all of the LGBTQIA2S plus folks to be able to share their stories and share their experiences and feel their identity be validated in a way that's often really difficult for so many of us. And so these are just snapshots of the socials that we've had. We've had, like I said, 12, but we really try to engage the community. And so we do this through bringing in a co-host for the community often and let them come up with a theme and plan with us, or we engage different partner organizations. So we're really proud of being able to create these spaces. And if you haven't been to one, they are truly magical, just to be able to see people who look like you and who have been through some of your same experiences and validate them is just really wonderful and unique. And just a plug for some of the programming for this week. We have a social coming up on Saturday, and I highly encourage anyone identifying as Black in Neuro to register and attend. Another way that we build community is through our social media, and that could be listed here as well. We have, I think, over 20,000 followers now on Twitter, up to 7,000 on Instagram. And we're able to showcase the work that we're doing and just create a space for people to be in conversation with one another. And an example of that is what's happening today with Black in Neuro Roll Call, which I'll talk about a little bit more. Another way that we kind of reach one of our core goals is through providing professional development resources. And so we do this through hosting several different workshops. And again, there's too many to talk about, but I'll provide just a snapshot here. We've hosted a how to shine in virtual interviews and presentations workshop. And this was so successful. And there was a lot of enthusiasm enthusiasm about this from the community. And so we hosted a part 1 and part 2 so people could learn the skills to shine in virtual interviews and presentations, and then actually be able to put those skills into practice with the help of Dr. Danielle Wyatt, who was our wonderful host for the session, as well as so many allies and community members who offered your time to help host practice interviews and mock sessions with trainees. And we heard from people that this was so useful, and it gave people so much confidence with going into graduate admissions and interviews that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And so we were really happy to be able to put this on. Another example is we hosted a demystifying grant opportunities workshop in partnership with NIH. And this was really wonderful because from the outside, NIH can be such a labyrinth, and if you haven't been able to have access to information about it before, had someone really walk you through it, it can be really scary and overwhelming. So we really wanted to bring in the experts. And so we had hosts from NIH talk about their roles there, had them demystify some of the different grant opportunities. And I think it was really helpful to kind of learn kind of the nuts and bolts of how things work. As another example, this one was very near and dear to my heart. We hosted a salary negotiation workshop, and this was really special to me. I think it's useful at every stage, but particularly for postdocs transitioning to the faculty stage, we're not taught how to advocate for ourselves. That's not knowledge that we go into this process having, and it can make it incredibly daunting. And it often can result in us not really advocating for what we need and what we want. And so Dr. Christina Campbell walked us through the ABCs of how to ask for things and gave us a blueprint to really help give us confidence in what can be a very scary experience that doesn't have to be. And so that was really wonderful to be able to help organize and put on. And so, as I said, just a snapshot, but all of these are with the goal of helping Black scholars in neuro and really the STEM community more broadly, because all of our events are open to the public, get the resources that they need to succeed. And so our last kind of tenet is increasing visibility for Black scholars in neuro. And there are lots of things I could mention under programming that fall into this goal, but two that I'll highlight are the conference that we held back in October. So we held what started as a mini conference, and it grew into a 5-day long conference with 2 incredible keynotes from Dr. Gina Poe and Dr. Nee Addy. We had 3 professional development workshops in partnership with NeuroMatch. We had 5 panels of a range of different topics and over 75 presentations from Black scholars. We had data blitzes, we had selected talks. And with a lot of things we do, we can say that maybe this is the first of its kind, but this one I felt really special to be able to say that, like, an event has never existed like this before, bringing together 75 Black researchers in neuroscience and giving them a stage to share their story was just so amazing to be able to organize and take part in. Another example of increasing visibility is our seminar series, which is ongoing. And so with that, we are providing a stage for faculty, postdocs, graduate students, neurologists to share their research and their story. And so we started with the amazing Dr. Yasmin Hurd, who shared her story of being Black in Neuro. We've had Dr. Michelle Corcoran. We've had two incredible graduate students, Tyler Bonnet and Thomas Burnett. And as I said, the series is ongoing. So stay tuned for updates about this and ways that you can tune in. It happens on the first Friday of every month. And like I said, one thing that's nice about this is we're providing a space for people to share their science and their journey, but we're giving them the flexibility to really speak to what's ever on their heart. So often as a Black person in a particular STEM field, you may be tapped a lot to speak about your diversity or even your struggle and not have the opportunity to share your science. And so we really give people the freedom to discuss whatever is really on their soul at the time. And so that's been really wonderful. So stay tuned for more information about that. And so I could go on and on about everything we've done and everything that we plan to do. But in summary, in the past year, we've hosted 56 events. And I can't believe it. And seeing that number is just amazing and just makes me so proud of the team and how we've been able to come together and make all these things happen. And really, all of them really get at our goals of providing resources, increasing visibility, and providing community. So like I said, I could go on and on forever about that, but what we're really here for is to talk about Black in Neuro Week. So just to give some quick highlights of things that are coming up. So today is Black in Neuro Roll Call and is one of our really exciting days because we just call on the community to introduce themselves. And what's nice about this one, or this year's Black in Neuro Roll Call, is we also invite people to share what they've accomplished since the previous Black in Neuro roll call and what Black in Neuro has meant to them. So if you scroll through Twitter and see this hashtag, you can see all of the amazing stories that people are sharing about who they are and what they do and how Black in Neuro has impacted them. So that's been really, really wonderful to see. And I definitely encourage you to check it out and participate if you haven't already. On Tuesday is our Black in Neuro Research Day, so we'll get to hear on social media a lot of the incredible research that our community is doing. We'll also have a panel about neuroscience on the African continent and a keynote address from Dr. Cecina Wood. On Wednesday, one of our favorite days is neuroracism. And so we're bringing it back from last year because it was so wildly successful. And so we'll host a journal club on a recent paper that came out about diversity issues. And we've also invited one of the co-authors to speak about that paper in coordination with some of our organizers from Black in Neuro. At 3, we'll have a panel on inclusive neurotechnology. And then at 5 p.m., we'll have a pre-recorded Q&A about EEG research and Black hairstyles. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. So I hope you'll tune in for all of those events. On Thursday, is our Black in Neuro Mentors Day. And so we highlight the importance of mentorship and outreach through a series of events. We'll have a workshop on how to lift as you climb, how you can be a better mentor to diverse trainees. And we invite everyone to attend this, not just Black folks, but everyone who hopes to be a mentor to really get a sense of how you can better mentor diverse trainees. We also have panels and mentorship spotlights around outreach and mentorship in the neuroscience community and highlighting a particular team in the mentor spotlight who we think has done this really well. So definitely check that out. On Friday is Black in Neuro Careers Day. And so we're hosting a panel showcasing Black and Brown leaders in various careers outside of academia, because we get to hear about academic careers a lot, but we want to share some opportunities in industry and pharma and technology fields. At 2 p.m., we'll have a recruitment session with one of our industry partners, Sarah Bell. And so we'll get to hear about what it's like to work there, what it takes to work there and what they're really looking for, and also how they're helping support Black scholars who are joining their company. On Saturday, as I mentioned, we're having a social. And so it's another way of bringing together the community, but it's all about celebrating all of our diverse intersections, or as we're calling them, intersections. And so we'll have a podcast where you can hear from people with all of these different unique intersections, and a social where you'll have the opportunity to connect with people who share various aspects of your identity. Finally, to close it out on a happy note, Saturday is hashtag Black Joy in Neuro. And so we invite you to share what brings you joy outside of in and outside of the lab, whatever that means for you. And then to share space with us in a really fun way. So we'll have a dance class and a yoga class for you to just de-stress after this really, really what we hope is an exciting week. So as I said, I hope that you'll check out all of the events for the week. We're super excited that you're here. I'm super honored to have taken part in this. And so I will go ahead and hand it off to our next director.
Thank you very much, Brielle. So I'm De-Shaine, and I am the Director of Development at Black In Neuro. So my role really is about making sure that the momentum of our weeks actually translates to something that's long-term. So the question I keep asking myself is actually, how do we grow? And so this is kind of put into 4 key sections. So if we do next slide, please. Yeah, so it's really making sure that we have an outward voice, but also a global reach. So this is kind of looking outward, but also a priority on community and making sure that we're providing local opportunities. So some of the things that you've heard about already. But if we go to the next slide there, the first thing is that we will make sure we're heard. And something that is very important to us is making sure that we advocate for our community. And we've done this previously already with articles in Nature Medicine, Nature Neuroscience, and the Journal of Neuroscience. We also have a neuron paper coming out and an editorial in the European Journal of Neuroscience. So we're really looking at making sure that a lot of the change that we are trying to exact, even with our weeks, is more long-term, and we get people to act, because ultimately we need the rest of our community to do that. Secondly, we're looking at the fact that we are global, and we are already global. So in this past year, at least one person has participated in our events in over 60 countries, with 13 different first languages spoken by our participants. So we are already global, but we don't want to stop there. We want to keep going. We want to make sure that there is also a local presence closer to home, and making sure that, well, one of our commitments is that Black In Neuro is not just a US-centric organization, but something that can be felt across the 4 corners of the globe. And lastly, is that we will also create, I think the slide's been missed, but we are also a community. And it's really important that we make sure that we have more of a local presence or more of a regional presence as well. We've begun doing this. So some of you who may be on the call were part of our collaboration with the ALBA network, where we were able to have a Black In Neuro networking event, which was specifically for Black European neuroscientists based in Europe. And that went really well. And we do have plans to really port this across and really begin looking into the continent of Africa, looking into South America, looking into Oceania, and making sure that wherever Black people are within the neurosciences, that we find them, we connect with them, and we provide a community for them. And we also have plans to develop chapters within the institutions, because we want that real local presence. And please watch this space, because we've got a lot that is going to be coming up for you very soon. So lastly, from me, is the importance of actually creating opportunities. So we currently have industry partners who are Cerevel Therapeutics and Inscopics, who you'll hear from towards the end of the week. But really here, we're looking at getting more companies and getting more people just generally as institutions and organizations to partner with us. One thing that you can do quite quickly and easily is actually use our membership database. I'll give a very quick example that Cerevel Therapeutics actually recruited 2 people for an internship this summer, purely off of the basis of the resource that is already there. So go out and use that. It took a lot of time to procure and to put together. And we'd like to see that really go well and go far. And really just for anybody else who's looking at going beyond performative actions and going beyond just financial contributions, reach out directly to us, specifically for me, development at blackinneuro.com, because we're really looking at developing strategic partnerships and actually making change within our field, within STEM, within academia, and just within science in general. So thank you, and I will hand over to the next director, is Gwanaelle.
Thank you so much, De-Shaine. So I am the communications director, and as the previous e-board members have said, we are all about our community here and making sure that information is being streamlined to you. So the first way that we're doing that is through our newsletter. And this is open for all people, not just exclusive to our members at this point. So we have a lot of non-members and we have a lot of allies who also want to keep in touch with what we as the Black in Neuro community are doing. So if you want to sign up for that, this is absolutely free. So not only is this telling you about the programs that we're doing, but this might also include things that aren't necessarily Black in Neuro initiatives, but may relate to our causes or things that may help our members. So if we see things that like a conference or an upcoming internship or other sorts of funding opportunities, not only do we have that information already on our website designated by stage, so we have postdoc and graduate student and undergraduate funding opportunities, but sometimes we might also send that out in our newsletter. And so this is a great resource, and this is going to be a monthly, constantly updated force. The next thing that we're going to be talking about very briefly is social media. So we are trying to grow our engagement. We do everything for our Black in Neuro community. And so we want to make sure that we're constantly highlighting what our members are doing and giving the spotlight to people when we have the chance. So on our social media, we're actually going to do lots of more interactive posts in the future. So we're going to be highlighting our members for more day in the life of a scientist posts. And so this will look a lot like our Black in Neuro roll call today, where people are just talking about what does neuroscience mean to them? What does it actually look like in their lab environment? Or maybe they might not be in an academic environment, but more so medical fields. So we're going to be using our social media platforms to turn it over to them and also do a lot more fun and engaging, lighthearted things like Black in Neuro trivia that will be coming on our Instagram. So make sure you're following us on those. It's Black in Neuro on both of the platforms. And this week, we also have our Black in Neuro TikTok, or our Bin Talk, as we call it. And so keep posted for that. We have all these new initiatives coming to keep you engaged and informed. And the last one I'll be talking about is our Black in Neuro blog. So this is something that we started last year. One of the blogs that we did was in collaboration with Disabled in Higher Ed, where our Black in Neuro community member, Sarita Nolan, wrote a piece called I Am Black and Disabled. And so we're going to be bringing back this blog as a chance for our members to talk about whatever it is that they want to discuss and highlight. And as Black in Neuro, we always make it a priority to compensate our speakers, compensate our writers. And so we will be putting out blog posts on our social media to solicit writers in the future. And so keep an eye out for that.
So much, Dee, for that discussion about our communications platforms. So hi, my name is Danielle. I'm the Director of Finance for Black in Neuro. And I wanted to start us off by thanking our Black in Neuro Week 2021 sponsors so far. So we already have, before the week has even really begun, 81 donations and 4 pledges so far. And we are incredibly, incredibly grateful for your support. As all the other directors have said before, we really make it a point to compensate all of our speakers, to make our events as open and accessible as possible. So that would not be possible without your support. Next slide, please. So reasons to donate to Black in Neuro. As we've mentioned before, and as many of you probably already know, Black scholars are disproportionately required or expected to do diversity, equity, and inclusion work in addition to their academic work and their research. And this puts a time tax, it's called, on scientists of color, particularly Black scientists. And we really want to make sure that we are compensating Black scholars for their expertise, for their time, whether that's to do with their research or with diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice. So over the past year, we've compensated over 50 guest speakers for their expertise, and we hope to continue to do that. I also want to emphasize that the members of the executive board, advisory board, and organizing team are all volunteers. And so one day, hopefully, if we grow enough, we would like to have staff. But at this point, it's important just to highlight that everyone here is donating their time in terms of the organizing team. Next slide, please. Some other reasons to donate. So all of our events are free and we try to make them as accessible as possible. Today, this whole week, we have the pleasure of working with Vidman Barber, who is providing interpreting and captioning services for us. We also need your support to help sustain our online community, both through our website and through our new membership platforms. And we really want to be able to grow and, as De-Shaine mentioned, expand into other geographic locations, as well as develop new programming in the future. Next slide, please. And I think there's a missing slide, actually. Go back. So if you do want to donate, you can head to our website, blackinneuro.com/donate. And anyone who donates $100 or more this week will be featured as a sponsor at the beginning of our events and on our website. And if you have any issues or you're not able to donate online, you can send me an email at finance@blackinneuro.com and we'll be happy to help. I'll pass it on now to Lietsel.
Thank you, Danielle. So my name is Lietsel Richardson, and I am the current secretary of Black In Neuro, and it's been such an honor to serve in this capacity in the past year. So I'm actually going to share my screen and walk you through our very new website. So last year we started off on one platform for our website, and it was limited in certain aspects. And one thing that we really want to emphasize and really curate in our organization is membership and community. So we have migrated our website to a new platform, which enables us to directly communicate with all of our contacts. And that includes our active members who identify as Black In Neuro. And that also includes our allies and our sponsors. So as Gwanaelle mentioned, we do have a newsletter right now that you can subscribe to. Any member of the community is welcome to do so to receive monthly updates. And now I'm going to share my screen and walk you through our new website and the functions that you can find on it. Okay, so this is our new homepage. We have our mission statement laid out here. If you scroll down, our promotional video for Black In Neuro Week is embedded here. But one thing I wanted to point out that's quite new is that for any of our events, including Black In Neuro Week 2021, they are all going to be listed here in list view. And if you're interested in registering for any of these events, you can just go ahead and hit register. And it's just so much easier for folks who are looking for information on our events and how to participate. And here we have listed our Bintersection social, which is for our members of the community. So if you are an active member of Black In Neuro now, you are able to register for this event, and we welcome folks from all intersections and not just the ones that are listed here in the details. And it is kid friendly for the parents room, so feel free to bring your little one. We have our sponsors listed down here. There are links to our previous large events and some information on how to subscribe to our newsletter. We also have a quick blurb on how to become a member, information on accessibility, and some frequently asked questions that you can refer to. So next, I want to take you to the member directory, which our development director mentioned previously. So our member directory is better than before. So before we were featuring profiles and we had to manually input information. And now active members have the opportunity to create their profiles once their membership application is approved. And they can update their application, not their application, my apologies, their profile at their own convenience. And so, and I will demonstrate that later on, but I just wanted to show how robust our search function in the member directory is. So right here, we have some pre-listed search categories that you can use to find folks in our directory. So if you're interested in finding a Black neuroscientist or a professional or a trainee to speak on a panel, and make sure that you are able to compensate your speakers, you can click on yes for folks who want to be contacted about speaking engagements, and it'll filter out the members who don't want to be contacted about it and only list those who are happy to speak on a panel or do a keynote. Now, if you're interested in looking for folks who are actively seeking recruitment opportunities, you can go ahead and choose this category as well. And if you are maybe in high school and you're looking for folks to get career advice from, then you can use this search category. Now, our advanced features of the member directory include like these categories and fields that are very specific. So let's say you met somebody at a Black in Neuro Week event and you wanted to connect with them, but you only remember their first name. Then you can go ahead and type out their first name and search for them. And you can also search by intersections as well, using these keywords, these logic keywords. That's what I wanted to share about the member directory. So if you are currently an active member, you will be featured in this directory. Now we have here our events tab. If you click on that, we have a calendar view of all of our events planned for the month. You can also change it to a weekly and yearly view. And if you scroll down, let's say you are coming to our site and you're only interested in looking up our socials or our workshops, you can go ahead and click here because all of our socials and workshops are categorized separately. So you can find them all here and you can look at the previous events that we had under those categories. Now moving back to Black in Neuro Week 2021. So right here, we can see a list of all of the sponsors for Black in Neuro Week 2021. You can see all the information that you need to register for the week. So when you go ahead and click on register, it'll take you to this page where you enter your email and you'll answer a couple of questions, such as whether or not you need accommodations, whether you identify as a certain race or ethnicity, because we like to see where all of our folks are coming from who attend our events. So we do have information like geographic information that we want to know about our registrants. And then once you do register, you'll get to a page, your confirmation page, and you can go ahead and add the event to your calendar, which is a really great feature. So you can automatically download an ICS file for Apple, Google, Office 365, or Outlook, and have it embedded into your calendar so you can receive updates. And in that invite, we'll have all of the details for the event that you need. So you're constantly reminded of what's coming in during Black in Neuro Week 2021 or any of our other events. And then here we also have information from all of our previous events that we have hosted. As our programming director mentioned, Brielle, we have hosted so many events in the past year, and you can look back on it and reflect on some of the cool things that we've hosted. Now, if you're interested in getting more involved with Black in Neuro, we do have a Get Involved page as well. So if you're interested in becoming a member, you would navigate here, go to member application, and answer some of these questions that come up. So one of the first things that it'll ask you is what your preferred membership level will be. So whether that's postdoc, professional, or student and trainee, I just want you to know that these levels are very broad. So for professional, that includes clinicians, healthcare professionals, that includes industry professionals, nonprofit professionals. For student and trainee, that includes undergraduates and graduate students as well. And so you would go through, answer a couple of questions, upload a headshot, and we do ask that the headshot is a professional headshot. Include your first and last name and any information that you would like the community to know about you. And then you would submit your application, and within 5 to 7 business days, it will be reviewed and then approved. If you do have any questions about membership, feel free to email me at secretary@blackinneuro.com. if you submitted a profile on our older site last year and you would like access to the information you inputted in that application, feel free to email me here because I can very quickly pull up that information to make the membership process easier for you as you go through and fill out your application.
Thank you so much, Lietsel. This was absolutely a wonderful demonstration of our website. I just want to, again, thank everyone for being here and for joining us during this welcome session. As we mentioned, we're always around. You're more than welcome to email us and to connect with us on social media. And so thank you so much for your time. We hope to see you at future events. We hope to see our community members at our social. And if anyone else is looking for ways in which to support, please feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you all so much. Happy Black in Neuro Week.